one big takeaway is that by the time I was applying for my study abroad dream, I had over 40 volunteer experiences. Can you believe that? Don't think that until they call it volunteer before it serves as volunteering experience, right? Make volunteering opportunities out of your everyday, ordinary life activities. How are you? So, this is how to make volunteering opportunities out of ordinary life activities. Okay, so by the time and I'm going to tell you this by telling you what I did. I'm an ardent volunteer, right? I'm an ardent volunteer, and I volunteer so much that by the time I left school, by the time I left my undergraduate studies, I had several uncountable volunteer opportunities below my on my CV, right? In fact, a lot of times I had to actually remove some of them from the CV in order to make space for other things, right? So today I want to talk to you about how I did that and how you can do that too. So I started school, my 100 level, like my year one. I went to Harvard school website, right? I wanted to check out their public health program. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to check it out so that by the time I graduate, I know exactly what to do. Shocking to me. There were things I expected to see, right? But I saw some other things. First, I was expecting to see that they're going to need high CGPA. I'm talking about Harvard. And they didn't disappoint me. They didn't disappoint me. I saw that as well, right? Now, there were other things I was expecting. Like, I was expecting that they would have known that I'm of good behavior and all that. Then, there were two major things that I was not expecting that I ended up seeing. One of them was they needed me to have like leadership positions and all that. And I wasn't expecting that. But as soon as I saw that, I heard that, I was like, boom, this is good. I'm going to try to increase my leadership experience. Now, the other one was that I saw that they needed me to have a lot of volunteer experiences. I was like, volunteer experiences like an extracurricular activities. I was like, wow, why, how? Okay, this is not the norm from judging from my background, right? So I was very happy to figure out that they needed things like that. So I made sure that throughout my school year, the rest of my school year, I spent it volunteering a lot. And it's like I love to volunteer, but knowing fully well, like having seen that, right? Having seen that on the Harvard School website, it made me volunteer more intentionally. So I know that you love to volunteer, and some people don't even like to volunteer at all. But what I want to bring to your attention today is what? Be intentional about your volunteer experiences. So while being intentional about my volunteer experiences, it meant that I took advantage of any opportunity for me to volunteer. I took advantage of that and I did. And these are some of the things, some of the ways that I volunteered. For example, I'm a Christian and I belong to a Christian group, Christian student group in school. And we are all medical students or dental students, right? Like medical students. So oftentimes we hold outreaches like free programs, free checkup programs for people, especially people from rural areas, poor people. We check them for free. We give them health advice. I made sure I attended any of those programs. In fact, after some time, I started joining other team members to organize them. So I was not just a member. I was not just someone who showed up when it is time, when on that D-Day. But I got involved with joining my other people, like my other group members, to arrange those slots, right? And it's like, naturally, these are things that I would have just taken for granted. These are things I wouldn't have paid so much attention to had I not known that volunteer experiences were extremely important when you're thinking of studying abroad, right? These are things I will have just let go. Once in a while, I can just join them. But knowing that this was very important made me to make it more intentional. I was there almost always, and I joined in what? Organizing, not just participating, but organizing, because people, admission committee love to know that you're not just a member, but you play key role, leadership role in these things that you're saying that you did, right? So avoid being a member, being a participant. Try to be an organizer. Try to be the person leading the way for other people to see. They want to see change makers. They want to see risk takers. Okay, so that was something else. So the point now is that throughout the time I spent in school, just that student group I belong to, which is my Christian student group, right, gave me the opportunity to have over 40 volunteer experiences. You see, these are things that are very natural, very ordinary life experience, but because I knew what was expected, I took advantage of it and made it intentional, made my volunteering intentional. And just by belonging to that group, I had over volunteer work experiences, over 40 volunteer work experiences just from the group. As I said, we usually go to different towns, different cities. Sometimes we even sleep there to make sure that people get access to free health care, free health advice, and we refer them. Sometimes we give them food, give them money. We pray with them as well. Now, that's not just it. There was also this other group I belonged to. That was a student group. It was not a Christian student group. A student group for my department, for students in my department or in my faculty, right? So I took advantage of that as well. So in that particular group, we called it BOTSA, Benin University Dental Students Association. So we're dental students. So a lot of time so it all started by, we wanted money to fund our organization. In order to get that money, we partnered with some companies that produce toothpaste, toothbrush, like that. So we use their product and use it for community engagement. How? We go to those communities, we give them free oral health advice, then we give them free toothpaste, free toothbrush given to us by that company, and then the company pays my organization and we use it to run the student association, right? Now there were many other people who were part of this group who just showed up once in a while for those things. We used to call it code which is, I think, I won't tell you the meaning, but we used to call it code. But knowing fully well that I had or I needed volunteer experiences for my study abroad dream, what did I do? I started volunteer. Like, I was part of the people organizing this project. A lot of time, I love taking pictures, so a lot of time I will cover the picture of the event so that I can post it on the school, on the students association Facebook page, or share it or something. I'll be involved with organizing, with making sure everybody's there. I'll also be involved with actually helping people, you understand, through that means. So the point is that that was something that was ordinary to an average student, but for me it was not. I made it intentional. I made my volunteering intentional. From that group alone, I was able to have, because we usually do about 8 outreaches every semester. Can you believe it? Sometime between 5 to 8 outreaches. Sorry, maybe every year. I think every year is the right word, the right timeline. Every year. So before I graduated, of course, I attended over 70% of the outreaches that happened in my time. And before I graduated, I had more than 30 different outreaches, awesome outreaches that I participated in just by getting involved with my student association, right? Now, I didn't just stop there. Apart from the 1 or 2 other ones that I organized personally or as a person, belonging to these 2 groups, which was a natural thing for any student, by making it intentional, I was able to get the most out of them. But not just that. When I graduated, students group gone, right? No students group. I was a young doctor in the hospital, but there were still other people that were like NGOs that we're organizing outreaches, right? Like I volunteered with Pro Health International. Pro Health International, they pay for your transport, then you come for 1 week. They also pay for your accommodation. Then you come for 1 week, you stay in that particular community, which is usually a rural place, and you provide free healthcare to those people, right? So I volunteered with Pro Health a lot. Then I volunteered with other organizations. So by the time I graduated, what I did was I started volunteering with NGOs that were involved. I wasn't really running an NGO that provided free healthcare to people, but I was very, very much involved with NGOs that did that, right? And these things counted as volunteer experiences for me. So I did a lot of this, right? Now, Pro Health is 1 week, right? But there are many other organizations that for 1 day you come and you give a free healthcare program and you just go. So you don't even have to spend a week. You can just spend a day. For some organizations, it's hours. One big takeaway is that by the time I was applying for my study abroad dream, I had over 40 volunteer experiences. Can you believe that? And the good thing is that both the ones that gave you certificates and the ones that did not give you certificates, all of them still count. Both the ones you were able to take pictures and the ones you were not able to take pictures, all of them still count, right? The most important thing is for you to what? To be intentional about it and make the best out of your everyday ordinary life activities. Now, some other people are going to volunteer and they will keep it just like that. No. When you have volunteered, one of the best things you can do is to include it in your CV. So see the point. If I include 1 or 2 volunteer experiences in my CV, what does that tell you? She volunteered. If I include 20 in my CV, what does that tell you? I'm an ardent volunteer, right? So don't make the mistake of including just that best one that you love. Include everything in your CV as much as possible. And there is one secret I want to give to you. Some people, what do? They go and they spend, let's say, 1 year or 2 years volunteering in an organization. For me, that's not the best way to volunteer. Because as a volunteer, it's not just about you giving back to people, right? It's also a learning experience for you. So try to volunteer in multiple places. Therefore, make your volunteer experience as short as possible. Right? So instead of going to an organization, volunteering 2 years unpaid, how will you even pay your bills? Volunteering 2 years with them? No. Attend their 1 day volunteer activity. You can attend 10. Now you have 10 different volunteer experiences. If you spend 2 years, you have just 1 volunteer experience that is 2 years. But somebody else in that 2 years can volunteer in 50 places. And the person will look like an ardent volunteer while you are not. So make your volunteer experiences short and volunteer in as many places as possible. This was how I was able to make the best volunteering opportunities out of my everyday ordinary life activities while I was an undergraduate and while I was practicing as a doctor. And up to today, I still volunteer, right? In fact, making this video for you is not volunteer. You are watching it and you are not paying for it, right? You are getting it for free. So this is a volunteer activity right here. So every day of my life, I'm looking for an easy way to volunteer, to add value, but without spending 10 years trying to volunteer, because you still have to pay your bills. That is the reality you have to face. I'm not expecting you to volunteer, stay in your parents' house and volunteer, beg for food. That would be foolishness, right? That would be foolishness. So volunteer as much as possible. Make volunteering opportunities out of your ordinary life activity. If you belong to a church and you are in the church youth group, what are the activities you are doing there that ordinarily you wouldn't do? So you call them volunteer opportunity, volunteer experiences, and you put them on your CV, right? Like you may be a youth member, but you people organized one youth empowerment program. That's a volunteer opportunity. Don't think that until they call it volunteer before it serves as volunteering experience, right? Make volunteering opportunities out of your everyday ordinary life activities. Know that to volunteer is not that hard. To volunteer is not that hard. So these volunteering episodes is a series of 5 videos. I hope you've seen some of them and the others that will come or that have come. You can check our YouTube page, Facebook page, Instagram page, all of them, Dr. Linda Iheme, to see some of the details. Until I see you again, okay? Keep volunteering. It's very, very important. It's very, very important for you as a person. It's important for the people you are volunteering for. Above all, it's important for your study abroad dream. You can't do without volunteering, okay? So keep volunteering.